So, you guys are still very much at sea, but you are headed in the right direction now, at least. Westward with the setting sun. It's a couple of hours before you make sight of the mainland once more, but slowly but surely that little kind of line of land grows as you draw nearer. Now you're not entirely sure where you are, but from Lee May's kind of dead reckoning previously, you can be fairly confident that you'll be close enough to Taizao for it to not be a problem to get there, but you'll need somewhere to put ashore. Now, as it is obviously a very kind of populated area being so close to a city, there are a number of different fishing villages. Li Mei and Zhang would both be at least reasonably familiar with a few of them. Or of course, you could take your chances finding somewhere a bit more remote, perhaps a little harder to access, where perhaps discretion might be a bit more guaranteed. So that one is very much up to you guys.
I think trying to find somewhere a little bit further out of the way is probably smart. If this notary is for Taizhao, I would imagine there's a heavy fleet of fog presence around here.
Possibly. The ship is only quite small, isn't it?
Yeah, it's not huge, not at all.
Is it the kind of thing that with a couple of ropes and some skids we could actually pull ashore?
That's probably a tall order. It is a cargo ship at the end of the day.
Okay.
But that being said, you do have, obviously, Wide-Eye, who's very strong, and a druid, so could get quite creative, perhaps.
Just thinking if we find, like, a small beach
might come in handy.
A small beach and a copse of trees or something, we could pull it in and just, like, camouflage it or something.
It might be worth trying, finding somewhere that's a little bit more remote with some trees, and see what we can do.
Or, like we said, just a small fishing village. I mean, because what are we planning on doing with Captain Yang and his surviving crewmates?
Were they kind of up to him?
Or maybe, we leave the boat in their hands while we go up on foot and they can head off.
Admittedly, if they were in a position to maybe... I know they probably won't have like money or anything on them at the moment, but maybe they take the ship, because if they change the name on it, I'm guessing they're probably a little bit less recognizable, given that they just look like Imperial shipmen? What the fuck's the word I'm looking for? Yeah, that's the one, thank you. Jeez.
That was quite special, Pascal. Definitely going in a highlight reel.
Imperial ship.
My brain has 2 brain cells and they're both fighting for 3rd place at the moment. I don't know what's up with me, so you're going to get plenty of those this evening. But yeah, him taking it off our hands, maybe returning money to us at some point. Given that Li Mei knows him and trusts him, that might not be the worst idea.
I mean, that might be a good idea. Because just leaving the ship somewhere with no crew to attend to it is just asking for it to get stolen or ruined, ripped to pieces and used as spare parts.
Or to give a fleet of fog and anyone else after us a pretty good idea of where we're at.
But yeah, stick a new name on it, a different crew.
Yeah.
If we actually spend time, Erlang could do a bit of magic maybe to mend all the holes in the hull so it's not recognizable as the one that got shot at. Was that Erlang that did the mending?
No, that was me.
Oh,
I can do it once the long rest.
Oh, okay. Might take a
Isn't
bit
super
long.
ideal. Yeah.
Well, I mean, patching it up properly, I guess. The guys can manage that while they're also sticking their new name on.
Yeah.
Yeah, you
I would
imagine,
imagine they're capable of. Yeah.
Pirates probably know a thing or two about a little bit of battle carpentry.
Yeah, and slap a new coat of paint on it, and there you go. It's a new ship. Yeah, I think that's probably a good idea. Because, like I said, I can't see Zhang and his guys wanting to accompany us on land.
Yeah.
We didn't really have much of a plan beyond just rescuing them, did we? We didn't go after them for a specific purpose. We just rescued them because they were in trouble, and now.
But I can't imagine they're going to want to linger.
Given, yeah, probably not. Given the fact that we're about to go back into the lion's den up in Taizhou.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have an incentive. We can't offer that same incentive to them, or we're not going to.
Yeah. We can give them a bit of money just to get the ship right, but
yeah,
on the they owe us a fucking pretty big favor now.
Yeah, actually, owing the favor is probably better than the fee for taking the ship or whatever.
Okay, well, let's discuss it with Zhang and his crew and see what they think.
Yep.
Sure. So Zhang is currently at the helm, giving Li Mei a bit of a break. You approach him with the idea, and he seems agreeable to it. Obviously, the promise of a new ship appeals to his pirating heart because he is obviously now without one of his own. Yeah, we could run this little ship. Might have to stick to perhaps a few more humble targets, but there's money to be made at sea.
Are there ways and means for us to contact you in the future in case we need to set to sea again?
Well, we probably end up calling back to Baoding, I imagine. Leave a message for us at the capsized walrus. It'll find its way to us.
Mm-hmm.
Leave a message at the capsized walrus. Sound of pens on papers.
He kind of looks to a couple of the other crew members who seem to nod in agreement. They're obviously just as indisposed as he is, so the promise of getting back to business as usual. For them, the fact that they're not going to have to, dip into their own pockets to buy a new ship is probably the most appealing part of all this.
Yeah. And, we can give them a bit of cash to get going with, I guess.
A bit of an investment, like the way the Somalis do things.
I've got
some cash, invest in a rating.
Yeah.
Depending on how that goes, might get rich, might go bust. Who knows?
Got 617 gold in the bag of holding.
I'd say don't throw that all at him. Just
We've actually got 788 silver, 139 copper. We could just give him all of our
the loose change,
all of the shrapnel. And
the ship itself will, of course, count for a fair amount of grass issues anyway.
Yeah, of course. But I just mean in terms of getting it repainted,
have running costs. Yeah.
I think we've probably still got plenty of stores left on board. We might have been intending to be away a bit longer, but
yeah, they'll definitely not starve in the meantime.
Yeah, we'll just give them 50 gold. Is that reasonable? Is that too much?
Probably cover it.
50 gold sounds reasonable. Yeah.
Or do I give them 500 silver. Just to get rid of the silver.
It's useful to have a mix, just in case.
Yeah, but if
At
we
some
ever
point we're inevitably going to need...
run out of space in the bag of holding, or don't have the bag of holding for any reason,
Is it
that's going to
worth
be a
doing
massive burden because we're tracking way, aren't we?
25 gold, 250 silver?
Yeah, we can do that.
Okay, cool. Do you want to deduct that then, Cal? And,
Yeah. So that'll be 553. So 5 9 Google. Yeah. Where did I learn to count? Yeah, that's right.
Okay, so you hand Zhang a kind of smaller purse containing all of this. He kind of nods his thanks and pockets it. You can see his mind is already kind of racing with the possibilities. All right, well, with that settled, where do you want me to put you ashore? If we get a little closer, I might be able to work out which village is which and give you a bit more accuracy.
Wherever it's not going to cause a hullabaloo, I guess. We're okay to do some walking.
Yeah. As close to Taijao as is reasonably safe.
All right, I can do that. He nods and turns the ship's a couple of degrees to starboard. But it keeps the speed up, and before too long, the coast is now very visible to you. You can see, kind of cooking fires from villages, a few other ships, or I say ships, more like boats, really. The kind of local fishermen would use, are dotted around. He, however, doesn't pull up alongside any one of his keys. Instead, heading a little further north, to. Well, it's not quite as much of a cliff as the one you had to scale down to escape from a fort, but it's not exactly a beach either. It's going to be tricky to get ashore, but that means that nobody's taken the time to build any villages here. Right, I'll get you as close as I can, but you may have to swim the last little bit.
I'm going to turn to look at Juan. Are you okay with that?
I think I'm fine out here.
Cool.
So the ship quickly turns away from the coast. You can see the waves breaking against both the cliff itself and also the few kind of hidden rocks that are no doubt strewn around in the shallows. It's probably about 20 meters away. He's done a pretty good job, but he's clearly quite anxious not to hang too long. Just for obviously the risk to his new vessel.
That's the bread, Chris. Would you be able to go and grab it? Thank you.
Thank you all and safe travels.
Yes.
We look forward to seeing you again.
They nod and bid you farewell as one by one you guys kind of jump into the sea and make a bid for the land.
Hey guys, we did something with someone and they don't hate us by the time we've said goodbye?
Well, probably something to do with the fact that they're also criminals on the run from the law, maybe.
And we just gave them a ship for free and some free money.
Maybe we just stick to the criminal elements in future and just stop trying to be actual civilized people.
Hmm.
I mean, but to be fair, the rebels were pretty happy with us after we stole all that shit. I mean, we lost someone, but they were pretty happy, I think.
The rebels were, but the nearby druids weren't best pleased with us.
Well,
When
Can't
sun
please
goes
everyone.
sun.
I like to think that this conversation is going on as we swim to the shore.
It's just
That's a fair point. I don't think with my feet I'm a particularly strong swimmer. I think it's an ambitious bob and a goat
Dunno.
paddle.
pigs can swim and they've got hooves. Or
Can
Cows
they?
can as well, yeah.
Okay.
I imagine
hold
goats
on.
probably can. You can also have human arms, which are pretty good at paddling.
True, actually, yeah. Okay, no, yeah. Goats can swim.
You're falling for Wide-Eye's depiction of you.
Depiction of you, yeah.
Yeah.
Just Wide-Eye's long-term insidious scheme to just gaslight Pascal into thinking that she is actually a goat. Sorry, Yin
Go.
for up.
girl boss,
That's what
gaslight,
Pascal's
goat Pete.
A little bit of both.
And weirdly, it looks like deer swim really well. If you search deer swimming, there's fucking loads
Yeah.
of photos of deer swimming. So yeah, should be fine.
What's terrifying is when you see moose and like elk swimming, because like
Oh,
it's one of those things where it's like they are actually listed on Wikipedia as like killer whales prey because
Yeah,
they swim that often enough and it does happen.
they just dive down to like 50 meters or something and eat kelp.
If you were a scuba
Ah.
diver, that would be the weirdest fucking thing to see go past you.
that would be like, yeah, probably fairly horrifying, I would imagine.
Right, so anyway, pulling yourself ashore, you guys kind of dust yourselves off, or dust yourselves off, try and dry yourselves off as best you can. The wind will obviously do it in time. Swan, you suspect your plague doctor outfit might take a little longer than most.
Uh-huh.
Just imagining you there, like obviously not able to take the mask off, but like just trying to tilt it so the water just kind of like leaks out of some of the holes. Not that you need to particularly breathe as such, we've established that already, but oh my god, that opens up the idea of scuba vampires.
Oh my god, between the deer, I am never swimming again. Fuck this shit.
Oh man, that would be a fun plot twist, wouldn't it?
It's a good way to stay away from the light, to be fair.
Well, yeah.
Very murky in those pelagic depths.
I mean, at this point, we're literally Pirates of the Caribbean, where Rich can just walk across the bottom of the ocean and be fine.
Well, anyway, if that leads to anything. Where were we? Yes, so you guys are drying yourselves off. Wide-Eye, you kind of shake the box now strapped to your back, and water starts to pour out of the cracks along with some very angry meows.
You didn't throw the box away?
No. Why would I?
It's just a box that meows.
It's the new group mascot. That cat is it's alive and dead. We must show the world.
No, it's dead, and someone scrawled some runes on it to make it meow.
It's okay, Elias. I know you don't understand. I'll try and teach you later.
Uh-huh.
Yes, Wide-Eye seems oddly attached to this box for now, at least. But, he's a big guy, probably not best to argue too hard.
Yep.
All right, so having recomposed yourselves, you're now south of Taizal, but you can see the city on the horizon. It won't take you too long, maybe a couple of hours to reach the outskirts and do whatever it is you fancy doing there, which I'm sure won't lead to any chaos or other calamities.
Oh no. Yeah. At this point, I don't think we've got any better plans, or any better plans we have just sailed away, so... How's everyone doing, by the way? Like, have we been able to take a rest or whatnot, or are we just, like, still running on the same...
Well, nobody's rested since the escape from the fort with the prisoners.
Okay.
I'm okay. I didn't cast any spells, so...
Still probably worth us then finding somewhere to rest for Erlang to replenish.
Yep.
Give Schwan's chance to have something to eat, and then we can figure out where we're going, what we're doing, and how much of a mess it's going to be.
Well, we're not going to get much of a rest out in the wild, so how much
What I was
can
meaning
anyone
is
recover from
go
a
into
shot?
the city,
Well, yeah.
find a tavern or something, rest up
How
there.
far? Do we know how far south we are?
You'd guess maybe 3-4 hours, something around there.
Okay. Alright, yeah, might as well then. Just start trekking. We can sit for a little while and try and dry out, or we can dry out while we walk. What kind of day is it? Is it a nice hot one?
It's fairly overcast, not too hot, but not cold as such either. With
How breezy is it?
Well, by the sea, it's got a bit of a breeze to it, so in your wet clothes, that's going to make it feel a lot colder than it actually is, of course.
But we also might dry out a bit quicker because the wind will wick some of the moisture away.
Right, so you guys start to make your way up towards the city. Now, this is probably one of the larger cities that you've been to so far. It tends to be, kind of the main port for the, the rest of the ships from the Empire to come and bring their goods to, as it then offers a pretty much direct link to the capital. Obviously, it's not too far from the rest of the Fleeter Islands either, so that's now massively increased the volume of trade coming from it. In fact, actually, it's probably fair to say that Taizao is really the city on the rise at the minute. Lots of people coming from villages and smaller towns to try and make it big in this economic powerhouse for town. And that's kind of reflected as you guys make your way through the outskirts, which seem to be going up at a pretty prodigious rate. You can see a lot of the buildings here are quite new around the city. In fact, quite a lot of them now are actually outside the city's curtain wall. But with that increase in population comes all the associated perks. You've got quite a lot of people selling pretty much all sorts. You can see most of it obviously fairly day-to-day necessities, just anything to try and make a living. But the city itself now, the interior is very, very busy. You'd struggle to see them from where you are, but you'd have a pretty good idea that this is where if you wanted to really find some work on the docks, you'd come here. There's going to be plenty of things coming and going, which will need quite a lot of manpower to unload. That's obviously, unlike New Haringvliet, not the only kind of economic driver here. The associated infrastructure for the merchant trades has sprung up too. So your big banking houses, lots of warehouses, logistics, all that kind of jazz. So that's kind of a city you're looking at here, thriving and industrious, and probably quite cutthroat.
Yeah. Well, let's find ourselves a decent tavern first before we go getting into any trouble. And get ourselves a good night's rest.
Yeah, somewhere probably nearest the docks for the sake of blending in, I guess.
But something a little bit more comfortable so we can actually, get a good meal and a good night's rest.
I don't understand this comfortable, but sure.
We're looking in the 3-star range.
Okay, cool. So having a look around, yes, the docks seem to be very much more towards the affordable side of that range. Whereas obviously moving towards where the banks and presumably the bankers would be leads you very much into the quite expensive territory. But there are plenty of in-between options, and eventually, after a bit of wandering, you stumble across the Wandering Worm Tavern, which appears to be welcoming but not pretentious.
Yeah, perfect.
So, entering that is very similar to taverns you would find across the Empire. Namely, plenty of patrons enjoying clearly quite strong drink, and also a pretty much, well, it's not a ubiquitous thing, it's not common across all of the Empire, but definitely in the East there's a large kind of cauldron with, what's known as an eternal stew on the go, which will kind of feed the patrons for a pretty reasonable rate. So rooms here for the night for the whole party, that's going to set you back about 15 gold.
Okay.
That privilege does buy you a individual room each if you want it, and also a series of locks on your doors.
Yeah, that'd be nice, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're probably all a little bit sick of each other at this point. Having been in each other's spaces for a long time.
You'll probably need, a bath.
Yeah. Oh, we did just
We
have
did
one in
just
the
swim.
sea.
Yeah, we'll probably need a bath.
Salt water isn't necessarily the best thing to be washing in regularly, but yes, it at least got rid of a lot of the grime. Okay, so as you guys make your way to your rooms, you find that not only is there the key that you were given, but there also appears to be some sort of arcane lock to your doors. In fact, there's actually a kind of notice on the back of each of your doors giving you instructions on how to reset it to a word of your choosing, for your convenience, of course. So it seems that they take their security quite seriously in this establishment.
Interesting. Is this the norm, or is this noticeable for its unusualness?
It's not something you've seen in other cities.
Huh.
Shall we just all do our own thing for the evening? I mean, what time of day is it, actually?
Well, by the time you've got here, it's going to be getting dark, probably maybe like 9-10 p.m.
Okay, yeah. Yeah, we could all just get something
Clean up,
to eat.
eat.
Give a
Yeah.
good night's sleep.
Okay, cool. So, obviously, this is the most comfortable rest that you've all had in quite some time. Perhaps second only to Epicos's quarters back in Tongguan, but obviously you wouldn't know that. So the night passes uneventfully, each of you sleeping quite well, I'd imagine. Well, actually, that's might not necessarily be true. Zuan, you no longer necessarily feel the need to sleep as such, but you can feel the hunger growing.
Yes.
Ah, yeah, we didn't really consider that.
It's a busy town, of course.
Of course. And it's dark. And easy to hide, maybe. Is it after like such a big busy day? Is the hunger feeling like more?
Fairly demanding.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think I'm just gonna sleep and ignore that one. So I'm gonna wander around the city, not directly looking for someone straight away to feed on, but sort of scouting out the area, seeing if there's dark alleyways and such, places where I can potentially go if I feel the need grow too much.
Sure, okay, so having a little stroll around as well, you can see that this city doesn't necessarily slow down as much as Baoding did after dark. In fact, no, it seems that this city has quite a thriving nightlife. Walking away from the docks a little bit, you stumble across a quarter of the city which seems to be particularly active. And it's quite an interesting scene. It's almost like a bit of a night market, if you will. People are selling different things. There are people that are quite openly gambling in the streets. It's not something you've ever really clocked before too much back home. But yeah, it seems that there's a thriving economy even after sunset around here. But you get the impression that perhaps not all of it's above board.
Hmm. So what sort of stalls can I see?
So lots of them appear to be selling various trinkets and, from the looks of it, kind of goods that you might have expected an artificer to have put together. A lot of them are fairly mundane, of course, like little trinkets for, like, a rune stone that might generate light for a little while. Something that might create a spark, perhaps. Just little household items almost that would be useful to have and save a bit of time. Not necessarily overly powerful. But obviously with magic being a fairly prominent feature of society, it's fairly normal for things like this to be put together by well, I mean, a lot of artificers actually band together and form full-blown workshops for it because it can be quite profitable with the the amount of people in the empire. But that's kind of one example. A few others, a few of the stalls are selling all sorts of items, which might kind of lean you towards thinking that perhaps they weren't necessarily acquired honestly. But yes, there's plenty of shady types around. You can see that, especially around the gambling tables, there are quite a few big blokes stood behind, just watching. not really in a hurry to be anywhere. Clearly, the the incentive for the players to behave.
I'm gonna go sort of linger around that area and just, I don't know, watch a couple of the gambles going on, observe the people, and
Yeah, sure. Go on then. Roll me a perception, please. And do it with advantage, actually, because I feel like this is something you would have a bit of experience with.
oh, that's 20.
Okay, so you can see quite clearly that these, these tables are very, very clearly swindling the people sitting down next to it, or across the table from them. I mean, most of the patrons appear to be, drunkards or sailors or a combination of the two. So they might not necessarily notice as such, but it's very, very clear that the house has more than just the normal edge you would expect at a gambling joint. This very much seems to be loaded in their favour from the get-go. And in fact, it seems the dealer's very confident with his abilities to the point that he's not actually really trying to hide it all too much.
What sort of scale of bets is going on?
So it depends. Some of the tables are fairly low stakes for kind of silvers and maybe a handful of gold pieces. A couple of the other ones are considerably higher, although those ones tend to be a little deeper into this, kind of little, almost like a square which is set slightly back. You can see actually that there's a kind of a large, kind of red facaded building behind it, where clearly, these guys are operating out of, and you can see actually that the bouncers are in the process of, kicking somebody out of kind of the main door there, who's protesting. You'd probably be able to hear him. His protests, more along the lines of, he can make the money back. He'll find a way to pay her off. Words that fall on deaf ears as the bouncers quite soundly evict him. You suspect that there are probably more high-stakes games taking place behind these doors.
Hmm. Knowing fairly well that I'm going to probably lose it, I'm going to find one of the tables where I can just bet a silver, and I'm going to go join in for a hand of whatever's going on.
Okay, sure. So you sit down at the table, and a kind of a deck of cards is shuffled in front of your eyes. Obviously, now you know the trick. You know that all the cards in play aren't in that deck. There's a number of them hidden up the dealer's sleeve. But you play along. You place your silver down on the table and watch as the dealer begins to commence the game. And sure enough, you win a couple of hands, but ultimately you end up coming off the worse for it, and the silver is quite swiftly swept off the table. The dealer kind of looks at you expectantly, as if by this stage it's almost normal for people to just follow that up with another silver and keep playing, but obviously you are very aware that this probably won't end well for you.
Yeah. Yeah, not to run the risk of creating too much of a scene. I'll just walk away from that. Yeah, sort of observing was more of the goal.
Sure. So you kind of make your way, after, kind of getting up from the table and moving aside slightly. You can see that the chap who's recently been evicted from the establishment is kind of wandering, kind of bow-leggedly down towards the darkened alley. Clearly a little bit inebriated.
Yeah, so I'll go over and I'll stand next to him first, not to so I don't startle him just by touching him. But I'll stand next to him and then say, "Oh, you look a little troubled in your walk. Let me assist." And I just sort of put my hand to support his back and help hold him up and help him walk along a bit.
He is a little startled at first, but after a while, he kind of realizes what you're saying. Oh, thank you. There's finally somebody decent in this stinking city.
Yes, you are. I've noticed this is not the best place to find an honest person.
He kind of nods, again, eyes kind of half shut. Say that again. Crooks, a lot of them.
Yes, they are very much out for themselves and not here for people's entertainment.
He shakes his head. Those loan sharks are going to kill me.
How much debt are you in?
He kind of turns to look at you. After tonight, I owe Madam Feng. What must that be? 500 gold? And then I owe the loan sharks another 250. Oh God, so I'd best get out of here. He pushes away from you for a moment to kind of lean against a wall and kind of violently retch. You can kind of smell the booze on him as well, but this man is clearly not in a fit state to have been gambling that kind of money.
As he retches, I'll pat him on the back as if I'm comforting him, and I'll have a look to see if his neck looks exposed enough for me to try and feed.
So he is obviously very preoccupied by this, kind of one hand leaning against the wall. He wouldn't see it coming. It looks like it'd be fairly doable.
Yeah, Swan is hungry, so he's
Okay,
waited
roll
long
me
enough.
stealth, please.
16.
Okay, so as he's kind of recovering from that, you swiftly approach from behind. One hand on his head, you pull it slightly to the left, and then lean in and sink your fangs into the right-hand side of his neck. There's a surprised gasp from him, obviously, as you basically, you take him completely by surprise. There's some small resistance. His right hand kind of flaps up towards your head, but it's nothing of any meaningful effort. Have you noticed quickly that a couple of shadows are approaching from the other end of the alley? Looking at it, you can see that they're also kind of staggering. They appear to be sailors, but it seems they've clearly had quite a bit to drink, as they kind of look at you, and then one of them kind of gives a wolf whistle. The other one's like, hey, get a room, you two! You filthy bastards.
Why don't you draw a painting? It will last longer.
He chuckles at that and kind of strolls off, giving you like a slap on the ass as you go by, just to kind of. it's a weird encounter. It's over quickly, and you don't really believe your luck. They're too dumb to realise the fact that the man is bleeding now profusely from his neck. But yeah, they've had a skinful as well. So you're in the clear.
Great. Is there like some sort of glass object near me, like a bottle or anything?
Probably not. Glass bottles aren't usually the normal around here. At least not outside of taverns.
Never mind. I'll just like, how's he faring now after I fell on him?
Pale, 2 puncture wounds which are still bleeding quite heavily.
Oh, they're still bleeding. I don't know if I have the tools or the abilities to patch that up. Okay, I'll try and stem the bleeding at least. Like hold a piece of his clothes sort of tightly on there to.
Roll me a medicine, please.
Nine.
Okay, so you do your best with the materials to hand, but your makeshift bandages quite quickly end up, getting soaked in blood and largely worthless. He's kind of thrashing a little bit now as his body goes into shock.
Since there's nothing glass, is there like a big piece of metal or like a piece of furniture or something not attached to a wall outside here or something? Something I can make a big loud noise with.
It's probably in this dark alley. There might be a couple of kind of empty crates.
Yeah, can I try and like lift one of those up and throw it, smash it on the floor, make a big noise?
Yeah, you could probably slam that down and shatter it.
Yeah, I'm gonna do that.
Okay, so you take one of these crates and throw it down. It splinters quite easily on the cobbled stone, creating quite a din.
And immediately after the noise, I just shout, "Help!" But then I flee. And hopefully someone will come and find him. And I just go straight back to the tavern.
Okay, so you shout and run. As you get to the end of the alley, a couple of people who are responding to your cry kind of enter it just as you're leaving. You kind of push past them before they have a chance to really process what's going on. A few of them kind of look after you a little confused. Obviously, seeing a plague doctor running around this late at night probably isn't usual. But then you hear like a commotion, a shouting in the alley behind. You're not staying around long enough to find out what that's about. With a couple of creative zigzags through TCC's streets and back alleys, you manage to put some distance between you and him. And when you're sure you're not being tailed, you return to the tavern.
Yeah, I just plan to go into my room and unlock it.
Okay.
For the evening.
So, morning rolls around and everybody wakes up particularly well rested. So yeah, assembling in the kind of main tavern area downstairs, you guys are able to get your breakfasts there. But you can sense that there's a kind of a change of an atmosphere in this tavern right now. People are kind of, talking in hushed tones.
What happened?
The barkeep who's kind of bringing you your breakfast leans in, almost like a conspiratorial whisper. Haven't you heard? There was a murder last night. And they're saying that it was some masked vigilante.
They were.
A vigilante?
Well, that's what the rumours are saying. There was a man spotted running from the scene in some sort of costume. Who does things like that?
Right.
He shudders a little bit. It just makes you think it could be anybody. Apparently the man he murdered was quite a well-known philanthropist around here.
Gosh.
Where did this take place?
A few streets down, by where the night markets happen.
I take it the crime rate around here isn't generally too bad. The arcane locks on the doors, I assumed that you guys were living in tough times at the moment.
He shrugs. Crime, well, there's organised crime. He, looks a little bit, almost like he said too much here, but then realises, well, he's in for a penny, in for a pound. We tend not to get too many murders, though. I mean, the crime bosses, they obviously like to make their profits, but they're usually quite civilized. God, I hope this doesn't start a gang war.
Right. Well, we'll stay off the streets at night then, I suppose.
He nods. Yes, that's probably going to be wise. But anyway, it's one of those things. It probably happened for a reason, I suppose. Maybe he crossed the wrong people. Was owed somebody a lot of money, maybe. I doubt it was random.
You hope not. Oh yeah, be careful.
He nods at that. Leaving your breakfast, he kind of leaves you guys to your own devices again.
So we all round on Juan, right?
You have an interesting night, eh, buddy?
Apparently more interesting than I thought. I couldn't help but feed. I had to eat. But
You had to.
that wasn't the plan. I didn't know that was happening. I didn't do anything different.
Really, it's a shame that we don't have anyone to sort of show you the ropes. There's got to be ways of preventing that. Yinfu is fully thinking about this as like her bardic training. She's like, it's got to be the same, right? You disappoint a crowd a couple of times, but there's got to be solutions.
You kill a couple of guys a couple of times, but
Yeah.
He did owe a lot of money. Perhaps that will muddy the trail.
Yeah. Maybe we find you a new costume in the meantime.
I think that would be wise.
What else can we get away with?
Are there any religious sects that like are known for covering their faces? Or like other denominations?
Not particularly.
We're
clergy
looking for
tends-
some sort of Islam, maybe.
The clergy tend to be quite high profile, and they like their displays of wealth. Status is a big thing for them in the realm.
Or that sounds outside of our means, I can't lie.
What are we? What about like heavy makeup? I don't know. Just thinking.
Hmm.
Sunscreen.
A really big hat.
Like Melania Trump.
Yep.
Yeah, good point. Just a really, really wide brimmed hat.
Yeah, there are a number of aesthetics you could go for with that as well. You know, all the way from like suave pinstripe suit and hat, all the way up to like Mexican poncho and sombrero.
He's from the south.
They have different customs down there, don't worry about it. Especially when he's looming over your throat. It's how they show affection around those parts. Absolutely normal.
I think a suitably large hat and then a mouth and nose covering could do a decent job, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean, not to give you ideas, but like a leper's mask would work with a hat.
Are you trying to tell me a leper isn't a religious denomination, Crispy? Gaw.
Yeah, not in this society. It's treated as the scientific element that it is, not some blight from the heavens.
Oh.
They're quite forward thinking about it, actually.
Vampirism, on
Have
the
you
other
known?
hand.
Well, we could just say that he's really fucking ugly. And he just wears a mask.
He was maimed as a child.
Perhaps I should stay here. I don't want to go out in my current costume during the day. And hopefully you guys can find something suitable.
You trust us with that?
You found me this.
Okay, fair point.
Okay. Yeah, we can work something out, I guess.
Okay.
Well, let's make that our first port call then, so we can get Schwan back out with us. Let's make for the textile district. Find a tailor or something.
Okay, so you find, after a little bit of looking, a tailor's that looks somewhat competent. What exactly are you going to ask for?
We have a friend whose house recently burnt down, and he's horribly disfigured. This is how I'm talking to the guy as well, just totally straight. Horribly disfigured. He has to cover his face because he's so ashamed. Do you have like a nice, or could you make us a nice mask that he can wear? Not too ostentatious, just a little bit of, but totally like blackout, so that he can just about peep through some fabric that covers his eyes, and everything
it's really
else is
the lower half
completely.
of his face that's suffering the most.
Right.
And a big hat.
I might be able to do something for you, I suppose. Let me see what I've got in the back. One moment. He takes a little bit of time. Obviously, this probably isn't something that's is too common a request. Well, if you're in a bit of a hurry, I do have this. And I'm just going to pop that in Discord to give you a better idea. But it's a kind of like there's a hooded kind of cloth, almost like a full veil that goes over the head, and then a white mask that adorns the front. And to top it all off, a kind of a black tricorn hat. Sure enough, it looks like no sunlight would be getting through there. This should probably do the job. It might get a bit warm though in the sun.
I think it'd be okay.
I'm sure that it's preferable than the current state. He's really struggling to leave the house as it is. It's quite distressing for him, I believe. This I think, yeah.
Although maybe we can get, I suppose, he doesn't have to be dressed all in black, and get something with some nice color in it, and just like day wear, but it covers his whole body because he's like the rest of his body's.
I wonder if there's something to do to contend with like any flies as well.
Fly? Oh, okay.
Yeah.
He's okay.
The black does look very cool though. I don't know, Elias. You can make the final decision on this.
Okay, black, all black it is. With a cape. There has to be a cape.
That has to be a cape, right? Okay.
Yes.
So the kind of a mask and all that's going to cost you 10 gold pieces. A cape, it'll take a little while to prepare, but if you've got an hour's spare time, he'll do it here for you, and that'll cost you 15.
Yeah, sure. Actually, while we're at it, I've been thinking, and I'll sort of say this to who's come to this haberdashery with me.
I have.
Okay. When we go to the Taijao Bank with this banknote, we might need to disguise ourselves as Imlius, because the note's under his name, I think.
Was it named? I thought it wasn't named.
Well, I don't know, but they might is it registered to an account or something? I don't know actually. Let me have a look at the note again. It's in my bag of holding. Does it have anyone's name on it, or an identifying mark or anything?
So interestingly, it actually is kind of made out to the bearer of this promissory note.
Oh, okay.
However, you can see there are a number of seals and stamps on the bottom, which clearly would be recognised by whichever bank you try to take it into, and must presumably link to an account or an organisation, perhaps.
Right. So they may be expecting at least, maybe not Imlius directly, but someone from the fleet, probably to be the one that catches it.
And we quite clearly are not from the fleet of Fog.
No. But we could make ourselves look as though we were using a bit of hocus pocus. Pokery.
A touch of the I think I have something for this. I have a disguise kit, and I believe I have proficiency using it.
It would make a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So does the disguise kit include like clothing or?
Pouch of cosmetics, hair dye, and small prop.
Okay, so
Lets you change your physical appearance. So it wouldn't change our clothes. Can I
so we
put
could
that in?
still probably do with like a Fleet of Fog kind of outfit to go with it.
I would imagine if they're trading here regularly, we wouldn't have too much difficulty finding something that they're okay wearing, or like their sort of styled clothes.
Right, well, looking around this shop that we're currently in, do they have like a Fleeter style fashion?
This shop appears to be kissed out more towards imperial fashions, but they might know somebody.
Okay. Well, while they're making the cape, which is an incredibly important part of this costume. Yeah, we'll go and check out somewhere else and pick up a disguise.
Okay, so as previously mentioned, the fleet have been, kind of trading with the Empire for a couple of decades now. And like most societies, the nobility of the Empire are quite taken by all things foreign. The point where there is actually at least some demand for kind of fleeter clothing, or at least the aristocratic fleeter clothing. You imagine the common garb of a sailor is not too much in demand. However, it seems that the tailors offering it are few and far between, and as such charge quite hefty markups for their work. But it would pass to the untrained eye as the original thing, or at least the Empire's best version of it. So we're thinking, kind of large ruffed collars, that kind of thing, padded shoulders, double-breasted jackets, all that kind of that style of pomp and almost needlessly fancy clothing just for that style of look. They don't come cheap though. Each full set of clothing is going to be 60 gold pieces.
Ooh.
Which is extortionate for clothing, really.
Right.
But obviously these are very much items of high fashion. They're not aimed at the peasantry.
No.
Bother. What would...
Well, it's
what
the
have we
kind of
seen-
thing that we could probably keep hold of for future use, maybe.
What have we seen, like, because the fleeters, like, have had, like, people doing grunt work and things like that. They're not all sort of rolling in money. These, like, guards and stuff like that, and people doing grunt work. What have we seen them wearing?
So the rank and file, fleets that you've seen like in taverns and all that, much like the commoners of the Empire, they wear mostly practical clothing, so tunics and the like, but a small but distinguishable change in style would set them apart from Empire clothing. However, if you recall, Imlerus himself was actually wearing Imperial clothes at the time of his demise.
Okay. Also, in that instance, we would only need one person wearing, like, better clothes. The rest of us can sort of pose as, like, retainers or whatever.
Yeah, fine, we can do that.
They're
Just
also,
get some-
it's one of the things where not every fleeter works exclusively with fleeters. They are not above hiring people from the Empire to do their dirty work, or just manual labour if the need arises. a lot of people are willing to take their coin.
Yeah, screw it. We can just take our chances.
Is there one of us at least well enough dressed to look like they would be trusted cashing in something like this?
Not currently.
It's still probably worth then at least somebody buying some better clothes.
Yes, I volunteer for this mission.
Okay, so
Playing
Elias,
pretend nobleman is kind of Elias's thing.
a bit of experience under your belt already. It does seem like a bit of a natural choice. So the tailor, gives you a bit of a choice here. You've got a few different options, but all of them are very, very fancy and almost impractical to wear. But he takes your measurements, and as the 60 gold is handed over, the final adjustments are made, and you are left with a very dashing aristocratic outfit of the Fleet of Fog. Or closest makes no difference. It would probably take an aristocrat from the fleet to notice that it's a bit of a knockoff.
Well, I think we were talking more like regular, just fancy Empire dress, as opposed to specifically Fleet of Fog.
Oh, right, okay. In which case, yeah, you'd be able to get that from a different tailor for noticeably cheaper then.
Yeah, I'll go back to the first one and see if they've finished the cape yet.
Sure.
I'll get fitted up.
So, yeah, you get fitted up while that happens. This one, it's still, very good quality material, but it's only going to cost you 25 gold pieces instead.
I'll let that come out of my my personal wealth.
Slush fund.
My personal wealth that definitely doesn't get topped up from the bag of holding.
Party pension fund, yeah.
How much was the costume stuff again? Sorry.
So it was 25 for the costume and then 25 for your fancy clothes.
Okay. That takes us down to 552 gold. Okay. I'll add a set of fancy clothes to my character sheet.
Okay, so with the clothes in tow, you guys are now all set at the tailor's. I imagine the plan is to return to the tavern and regroup.
Yeah.
Alright, so by the time you guys arrive, it's mid-morning.
Did we get a long rest overnight, by the way?
You will have done, yes.
Oh, I will cash that in.
2 hit points? Oi! Stonks.
Alright, so obviously plenty of time left in the day. What's on the agenda?
Well, Juan has got his new costume now, so we can head out as a group.
Are we going to cash in that promissory note?
Well, just in case it all goes horribly wrong and we end up on the run again, should we try and do any other business we need to do in the city first before? Then we'll just leave the bank till last.
Yeah, that's probably smart. I know it's like a bit of a weird question because like game-wise there isn't really a way to do it. Could I also, like, before we do go for that promissory note, Would I like practice on Elias to see how well I can do the disguise for him? Or would that offer any benefits long term other than like a storytelling aspect?
Quite possibly. That might not be a mechanical way, but we can definitely take that into consideration. You
Okay.
actually getting a bit of practice.
Yeah, it's a
Okay,
skill
so-
set I've not used in a while. But
Yeah.
no, I think Elias is right. Of do other things we need to do first before we pull some risky moves.
All right, so it'll
AKA
take
the
a
bank
couple
teller
hours to
shouts,
practice.
"You're not Emilius!" And then we're on the run again.
Mm.
Okay, so it's going to take you a couple of hours to practice. While they're doing that, does anybody else have anything immediately pressing?
Well, while they're doing that, I'll discuss with them about the fact I heard him talk about Madame Feng, but we don't know who she is. She's obviously quite influential. He owed her
Right.
about 500 gold.
Okay. So some underworld type
Yes, most
shenanigans.
likely. Probably someone we don't want to be on the wrong side of.
Well, maybe we shouldn't go murdering her patrons then.
Maybe.
Or if we need, I guess, a criminal element, we know who to ask for, I suppose. Like I said, we seem to be
True.
more on the side of the ne'er-do-wells than the law.
Yeah, I've made a fantastic entrance into Taizao, so...
Didn't even make it one night without murder.
It's right on schedule then.
Yeah, just
You know, like the usual thing of like, you know, when someone gets murdered, well, who's new in town? Oh well, there was a group
Not us.
staying at the Wandering Worm.
We've been here for ages.
well, thankfully, as said, there are a lot of newcomers in Taizao. It's a very up-and-coming, bustling city, so...
Yeah, but not all of them come in dressed as plague doctors.
This is true, of course, but Plague Doctor isn't the rumour going round, it's masked vigilante
Yeah, I suppose.
costume, and obviously you know how word is going to spread and inevitably change.
Well, you know it. It'll be like he's dressed up as some sort of bat or something. Ridiculous. Actually,
Nice.
Elias is going to do his best that every time he hears someone discussing it, yeah, I heard he was dressed like a bat, and just keep like injecting shit into it.
Yeah,
Hopefully the rumor
Going
gets
past a
around.
little bit, yeah.
I know someone from the guard, and they're following this description.
I've been a colossal fucking fool. I'm playing a bard. We really could have been using that to our advantage a little bit more.
Yep. Good point.
Told you, 2 brain cells. Neither of them were working.
You can get like free rooms and stuff, can't you? I think.
Yeah. Yep.
Oh well.
And he took, what, 14 sessions to
15.
lose and count? I really need to update my notes.
You know, why rush into it?
Yeah. So, you guys kind of discuss this mysterious person, and obviously then what that may or may not imply. But yeah, if you're looking for somebody in the criminal underworld, it's probably a place to start. Although, you suspect that if you are to gain any assistance from this Madame Feng, it probably isn't going to come cheap. As is usually the way with these people.
Well, we don't need anything yet, so maybe let's try and keep it that way. Oh, I guess we can. If no one needs anything specifically, we can try and scope out the bank and take a look at escape routes and what have you, just in case. Or actually, do I need anything? Could we pick up a couple more potions, like healing and stuff? Maybe.
Can never have too many healing potions, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so going to the alchemists proves to be a little bit of a disappointment. It appears that there is some sort of illness going through the outskirts, and the kind of, for want of a better word, slums that have cropped up overnight, and that is only exacerbating how fast it's spreading. As such, the stocks on healing potions are noticeably lower, and the price is significantly higher.
Of course it is. So how much for just a basic potion of healing then?
So, basic potion of healing, that is going to cost you the best part of 80 gold.
Yeah, that's pretty. Well, I've still got one basic and one greater, so we can.
Yeah, I think a
Stick
few
with
of us
that
still
now.
have in our inventories as well.
It's just an idea to try and top up, but unfortunately, man,
Up those prices.
maybe but based on this illness, maybe a plague doctor costume wouldn't have been amiss.
Yeah,
But
sounds like there may be a lot of masked people walking around these days.
maybe. While we're here, what other potions have they got? Anything on sale?
On sale, not so much, but there are a couple of other options going around. So let me quickly pull out my little Dungeon Master's Guide for a pricing list. Bear with me one moment.
Be ashamed to leave empty-handed.
Okay, so there are a couple of potions here that are on offer, and obviously being fairly niche, not really affected by the spike in demand for some of the others. First one, it's a kind of murky brown, but in it you can see a number of kind of silver and grey layers. They don't seem to mix when shaken. The merchant tells you this is a potion of climbing, so when drunk it will give a creature a climbing speed equivalent to its walking speed for an hour and advantage to athletics checks made to climb. And that one's going to cost you 50 gold pieces
Okay.
if you were interested.
Mm. Are there a lot of like high rises in this kind of city?
There are quite a few tall buildings. Yeah, it's one of the kind of main urban centres of the realm. So seeing buildings of 4 stories or more is fairly common.
Yeah. I mean, I know Juan and Erlang were able to get up into that fort fairly easily, but the rest of us would have definitely struggled with it if we'd needed to. No, I might just even get that out of my own pocket.
Okay, so he hands that to you in exchange for 50 gold.
Okay. It's 10 gold to a platinum, isn't it?
It is, yeah.
Yeah, okay. I'll hand him 5 platinum.
Okay, he pockets those.
Potion of climbing. find it on the plutonium import.
Yeah, that's just your bog standard potion of climbing.
Just for 1 hour. Cool. Yeah, I think I'll leave it at that. I've spent enough money today. Anyone else need anything while we're here?
I don't think so, no. I say that now. Nothing that I know of.
Yeah, I'm pretty all set for the amount of money I've got.
We'll try and make our way over to the financial district, I guess, then, and take a look for the Taizhou Bank. It's got to be a big one.
Okay, so making your way up towards the financial district, you notice that things get noticeably cleaner and the buildings much more impressive, shall we say, architecturally speaking. Clearly, a lot of the organizations based around here have invested good money in imposing premises to do business in, and the Bank of Taizhou is no exception. So it's not the largest of buildings here, but it does actually rise a couple of floors. You can see that the entrance is, kind of stone facades, and it's painted in quite bright colours. You can see some, kind of deep blues adorning some of the stonework, and then a number of, large flags kind of hang down, with presumably the company heraldry on it, but. Flanking the door, you can see two impressive stone statues. They're of, well, the term for them are shi, but they look kind of like imposing, almost like lion-like structures, but with quite powerful claws, almost something you would expect to see on a dragon. Very large, very imposing, and clearly carved from quite an expensive stone, as the surface just gives a kind of a black glimmer as you go by. But the bank itself, the main doors obviously are open at this time of day, and there seem to be a number of people inside doing their business with the clerks. You can see 4 windows, each with a teller behind it, in this central lobby. A number of doors lead off from this, and you can see a kind of a large window leading into what appears to be an office space where presumably the more important clients get to do their business. But you'd estimate maybe about 12 people in the bank already. 4 of them at the window, and then the rest kind of milling about, queuing a little bit.
Any guards around?
Yes, so there are a couple of guards dressed in quite a obvious uniform, flanking the main entrance. You can see they've got their fairly standard armor for kind of just people not expecting too much trouble. In fact, it looks to be like quite highly polished. Clearly, it's as much for show as it is for actual protection. But that being said, it is still, steel, steel mail underneath those tabards, so they're ready for if anything kicks off. And those are only the ones you can immediately see. And judging by the size of the building outside, you're only in a small fraction of the actual building.
So, assuming they might take us into one of the offices to deal with, like, a note like this to count out our money, maybe. I suppose I didn't confirm as well. I am disguised at this point, I guess, with Pascal practicing on me and what have you.
That was the assumption I'd made after
Yeah.
started in practicing, but she'd eventually get you dolled up for real.
I think Pascal stepped away, but yeah, okay. I'll nod to the others just to hang back and don't look suspicious. Well, I don't communicate that in a nod, I guess, but quite hard to communicate that in a nod.
It's a very nuanced nod.
Yeah.
Many stages.
Like, I nod and the subtitles appear at the bottom of the screen. And I'll make my way towards a teller, I guess, and I'll draw out the note.
Okay, so you make your way towards the teller, kind of cutting through the queue. And as you kind of present this note to the teller, they kind of glance at it and then at you. And after a moment, they kind of look back. Can you wait here, please, sir? I need to get my manager for this one.
Yes, hurry along now.
You watch as the clerk stands from their seat behind the desk and exits through a door into presumably some administrative space at the rear. It doesn't take too long, though, before a very smart-looking man emerges from a door to your right. And seeing you, he kind of extends a hand. Ah, Monsieur Imlerus. It's been a little while, but I didn't think we'd be seeing you back so soon if you were going all the way to Tongguan. But anyway, welcome. What can I do for you today?
I'm in need of some local currency. Doing my best to put on a little bit of an accent, I guess, now, because he thinks I am Imlius.
Okay, so the manager nods at this. Obviously, the fleeters presumably have their own currency or different methods of payment, but whether or not that flies in the Empire, you don't know quite yet. So, judging by his reaction, it seems that this is a fairly normal request that he might make of you. You might make of him. Right, of course, yes, that's no problem. I can see that you've brought your account slip with you. I'll just need to verify that. One moment. He takes this from the clerk, casts his eye over it. Good. Not that I had any doubts, of course. The credibility of your organisation is beyond question.
Yes.
So he beckons you forwards at this point. So the rest of you can kind of see this unfolding. It appears that Elias is about to be led kind of deeper into this bank.
I'll quickly turn and gesture towards Wide Eye. My man-at-arms will accompany me.
The manager kind of looks at you wide-eye. Looks back to you, Elias, but then seems to think that, the protests on his lips might not be worth it. Yes, very, very well. Why not? He beckons you to follow him. Roll me an insight, please, Elias.
An insight. Interesting. Oh dear, I don't have very good insight. Oof.
You sense that quite a few eyes are on you now, as obviously you've kind of come in and disrupted the queue, and people are curious what has drawn the manager to the main room itself. But you're quickly led through the door and back into a smaller room, which leads into it's almost like an airlock, really, except instead of two, kind of main doors, they are the kind of security style doors, like, metal bars, but you can see through them. He reaches for some keys at his pockets, and he pulls out quite a thick bundle of them, taking a bit of time to open these two doors. However, it leads you into a kind of a long room at the rear of the vault. Sorry, not rear of the vault. The rear of the clerk's workspace. And you can see that there is a large vault door here, flanked by two more of the, kind of the Lion Guardians. He takes the promissory note from you at this point, and he inserts it into what appears to be a small little hole just on the inside of one of their mouths. He's kind of had to roll it up in order to do so. After a couple of seconds, you hear the sound of something heavy clicking into place. He nods at you as if obviously this should be familiar. Right, I will need you to enter your organisation's secret phrase into this other gargoyle, please, as always. He kind of gestures, and looking at this one, you can see that the lion has its paw on what appears to be a kind of a large, kind of spherical object, upon which are a number of glyphs.
Yes. Quite. I'll look at the man. Some privacy, please.
He kind of nods his head and kind of turns half away from you.
Okay, I'm just going to stare. Absolutely starting to panic, and I will rummage through the bag of holding. I have Imlius's diplomatic passport still. Is there anything on there that might give me a clue as to what a phrase might be?
So the diplomatic passport, if you'll remember, is actually a document written by an
the
imperial
Empire.
magistrate, and signed with the imperial seal. It's got very little, if anything, to do with the Fleet of Fog, other than obviously the name of the intended carrier.
Is there any? Do the fleet have like a motto or a saying that I would know of?
If they do, you haven't heard it.
Okay. I'll start making noises of frustration. Ugh.
Is everything all right, sir?
I've simply been traveling too long, and it's been a while since I've been here. I seem to have temporarily misremembered the phrase.
He looks at you with a curious gaze.
Just give me a moment. I'm sure it'll come to me.
As you wish, sir.
Oh shit. Can I ew. So this thing with all the glyphs in it, is it just like an alphabet? Is it like
It kind of looks like it might be, but it's definitely not the language of the Empire.
does it look familiar to anything I've seen? That is it like a Fleet of Fog language?
It's
Like
not
alphabet
Fleeter
or-
either. In fact, it's doubtful whether this is actually necessarily a language of itself or whether it is just arcane in nature.
It's just the bank's own personal
Hmm.
creation. Can I inspect the keypad?
Roll me an investigate, please.
Yeah. Can I?
Okay, so looking at it,
Something above a 10, please.
you can see that there's no obvious, like, they're not keys as such or buttons. Each of these glyphs does actually, it's glowing and actually imposed on top of the stone. The stone itself is not carved with these. They are very much here from the magical energies, presumably, that operate them. It's, very, very difficult to really make out much more without knowing what, if anything, any of these symbols actually mean.
Can I try an Arcana check to see if I know anything more about what it is, how it works?
Yeah, sure, roll me an Arcana.
That's better.
Yes, so this is strong magic. This, you can see that, interestingly, the Arcana reveals that this is only one magical ward protecting this vault. The actual door itself has a significantly more powerful magical seal on it.
Can I tell what kind of magic it is, or
With a roll of 23, probably. So it's what is known as an Eternal Lock. It's a 7th level spell, and it's essentially creates a lock on a door, and then a key magically appears, and that is the only key capable of unlocking that. Magic won't do it. Any lockpicking won't do it. The owner of that key needs to be, the key needs to be there. The owner, not so much. But it's incredibly powerful magic. This is above and beyond, the likes of an arcane lock.
Yeah.
Usually
Something
reserved
that-
for places like this.
yeah.
And that key obviously will have a number of safeguards of its own, presumably, but that'll be more of a systemic thing than.
A couple of secret passphrases to unlock the safe that has the key inside it, or some shit.
Probably multiple layers of security, you'd imagine, for a large bank like this.
I'll turn to the man. You there? I don't quite remember. Were you here the last time I came to this bank? What was your name?
He looks at you now with, serious suspicion, like if you can't remember the last time you were here.
Of course I remember the last time I was here. I just don't remember this guy, that's all. Right, fuck it. I'm just going to go full on. I'm going to try hypnotic gaze.
Okay, sure. So I will roll that up. And so I don't have an NPC for him, so it's just going to have to be
Oh my god.
The gaze fails. Well, yes, of course I was here. This is the procedure. Only either myself or one of the other senior leadership team can grant you access to the vault. You've been here often enough.
Yes, I have, haven't I? Okay, skipping over the hypnotic gaze then. Let's try. Fucking hell. Hang on. No, okay. Gonna try charm person.
Okay.
The hypnotic gaze is only once per long rest per person, so it'll have to be a spell at this point. Oh my god.
Jeez. Why can't I do this when I'm a player? Anyway, naturally suspicious now after all of this. His guard is up a little bit. Mr. Imlerus, are you feeling okay? Do you need to go and sit down somewhere? A bit of fresh air, perhaps? Or being awfully strange.
Perhaps I do. Please show me to your bathroom. Your lavatory.
So, being a trusted client, he actually shows you to the employee restroom, which is actually just one door away from where you currently are. He opens that, and you are left in quite a spacious bathroom.
Well, actually, while we're here, I'm gonna look at Wide Eye, and I'm just gonna like signal like a neck chop.
That's a very dangerous signal to give to Wide Eye.
Well, okay, and then like quickly realizing my mistake, I'll be like, no, and I mean, I'll show like a fist punching like a head.
So no more, boss.
I was gonna say, I've got an idea, Crispy.
Uh-huh.
For flavor's sake, why'd I would have seen the head chop and just picked up his axe and like mid-swing, seen like kind of fucking Elias be like, no, head punch, kind of thing, and he would like to try and like switch the axe to the flat side. Would that work?
Yeah, okay, let's see, shall we? Roll me a attack, please.
Cool. You know what?
Let's get 20. Okay,
Great teams. The fuck?
you bring the axe down sideways onto this guy's head. There is a crunch as it connects, and he drops like a sack of potatoes.
Elias like winces, like.
I'm guessing that's what you wanted.
Yeah, basically, like before he had a chance to raise the alarm. I suppose we didn't count on the fact that there would be a password. Okay. I'll just immediately drag him into the toilets and lock the door behind us.
Okay, so you, Wide Eye, and this unconscious fellow are now in the employee restroom.
Just quickly check that there's no one else in here.
Yep, you're on your own.
Alright, I'm just going to start rifling through his pockets to see if he's got any keys or notes or anything.
Okay, so looking at the the contents of this man's pockets, you can see he has, a fairly sizable coin purse to it. Obviously, he's a fairly important chap. He is paid quite well. So you see that he has 6 platinum pieces, 13 gold, and 7 silver on his immediate person. You also find that bundle of keys that he unlocked the first set of doors with earlier. However, you see nothing that would, necessarily be a fit for this eternal lock on the main vault.
No. Right, can I do a quick medicine check on him to make sure he's not dead?
Yeah, go on, roll that up for me. Okay, so you can see that he is alive.
Okay.
His breathing is fairly shallow, and the impact point is bleeding a little bit, but not profusely.
Okay. Now, grab. I assume there's like a towel of some sort in here. I'll grab it, just gently place it on the side of his head, just to make sure he doesn't bleed to death.
Okay, so there's not really much risk of him bleeding to death, but this does stem what blood is flowing. Obviously, no real telling what the lasting damage might be from such a heavy-handed blow to the head from a flat of a great axe, but right now he seems to be alive at least.
I guess we hope it's amnesia.
Yeah. Okay, I'll take. Well, again, assuming we've got some towels and stuff around, I'm just gonna gag something in his mouth, and then I'm gonna gently start slapping him and splashing water on his face to try and wake him up. See if I can bring him round.
Roll me another medicine. No, he's not coming around. It's quite a hard blow you've just given him.
Well, looks like we kind of screwed the pooch with this one, my friend. I don't think we're getting into that vault. Bloody password. Should have thought of that. No.
You
Get out of here, I think.
You hear somebody rattle the handle of the restroom, obviously finding it locked. They kind of wait for a moment, clearly.
Are there stalls in here?
No, it's just the one toilet.
Looks. I'll sort of occupied.
You hear a muffled kind of "oh, sorry" from the other side.
Do I hear sounds of anyone walking away, or are they waiting there?
It sounds like they're waiting.
Shit. Do you think we could just keep opening the door, knocking people out, and dragging them in, one after another,
Remember,
until
you've
the
only
entire bank
got
staff?
4 pages.
Oh yeah. Shit. Is there a back door in the toilets? Is there a window?
There are no back doors, but there is a window. It does appear to be barred, though.
Is there a janitorial cupboard that we could stuff a body into?
Not in the toilets.
How big is the window? Did you say? Sorry.
So the window, it's fairly average size, but again, there are kind of thick iron bars on the other side.
Oh, of course.
It is a bank.
It is a bank. How big is this toilet? Are there any what's in the room with me?
So really, it is just the toilet, and then a kind of a wash basin, and then a kind of a wooden towel stand, of which you've plundered a few to stem the bleeding. Besides that, really, there's not much. It's not the largest of places, and there's nothing really in it as such.
Yeah. Okay. I'll look at Wide Eye. Got an idea. Okay. Break the sink. Or like break the pipe.
Okay. Wido will attempt to break the pipe.
Sure. So you give it a good solid blow with the shaft of your great axe, and sure enough, this dislodges the pipe, causing water to start to spray.
Oh, bother! Oh, good heavens! Oh no! And I'll like sort of usher myself and Wide Eye towards the door, and I'll like open the door and like put like not so wide that they can see inside to where there's an unconscious body. Oh, there's a burst pipe! Quickly, go and fetch maintenance. Who's there on the other side? Actually, I didn't even think to ask.
So it appears that one of the clerks from earlier is kind of stood on the other side. Clearly, this must be the employees' toilet. They try and get a peek around the door, but obviously you don't open it fully. Right, I'll go find somebody.
Yes, thank you. And as they start to walk away, I'll usher Wide Eye out the door quickly. I've taken the guy's keys, by the way.
Right, okay, so you hurriedly make your way back to the main room.
But on the way back, are there any other like side rooms and things, or is it just
There are a number of different side rooms. So at the end of the corridor you're at, there's another kind of one of these airlocks with the two security gates, which presumably leads to another part of the bank. There's also at the end of the corridor the other way, the kind of far end, there appears to be a door leading into somewhere, but God knows where that would be without looking.
Yeah, no, screw that. We haven't got a lot of time. Let's just keep heading back the way the manager led us in.
Okay, so you guys make your way back the way you came in, into the main room where the others, obviously you see Elias and Wide Eye moving fairly hurriedly.
That's enough of a cue for us to also move.
Yep. Let's go.
Yeah, we're not sticking around seeing them move at that speed.
And I'll straight out the exit as fast as we can, and I'll clue the others in on what's happened.
Okay, so you guys are kind of back briefed on what has just occurred in there. Kind of down a side alley perhaps, where nobody's going to be overhearing.
It went really well then.
Yep.
Are we going to have to leave town or?
Probably, yeah.
Okay.
As you guys are talking, you hear somebody kind of call from the entrance of the alley. Hey, you lot! Looking up, you can see one of the tellers from the bank, but he doesn't seem to be, chasing after you or alarmed or trying to draw anybody else's attention. His voice is quite low. He makes his way up to you guys. Christ, you guys are shoddy. You just left poor old Dagar in the bloody bathroom. Anybody could find him there.
How would you know that?
Well, you don't think I know a few heisters when I see them? He sticks his hand out to you. Name's Malagash. I've been casing this joint for a little while, and so when you came in and tried that little stunt, that, set the alarm bells ringing. I just want to know who's hired you.
Yeah.
We're freelance.
Oh shit. Oh fuck.
Is that the wrong answer?
Amateurs, by the looks of things, not just freelancers.
Because it's just occurred to Elias that we left the note inside the lion's mouth and didn't take it out when we left, so...
Oh.
He shakes his head. Well, good news for you is Dagar isn't going to be telling anybody any tales anymore. And I have a little something of yours. He pulls out the promissory note and waves it in front of you before pocketing it again.
What do you mean Dagar won't be telling any tales?
Well,
Dead, right?
you've got it, sweetheart. It's don't worry, it's nice and discreet. It's going to look like he's fallen and just smacked his head against the sink. A horrible workplace accident. Could have happened to anybody. But that secret comes with a price. It just so happens that I've been needing one of these, and he waves that note at you. But I'm not going to be able to do it alone.
You're planning on robbing the bank?
Oh, you're a smart one, you are. When did you catch on? But he shakes his head. Anyway, there are a lot of moving parts to a job like this, and for reasons I'd rather not disclose, my usual posse are somewhat occupied at this point in time.
They have the same event as Dagar?
A couple of them. A couple of them had some run-ins with the law. Others with the Crimson Lotuses. But that's not really important right now. What is important is that between us, I think we can maybe get a good old heist going.
Despite the fact you just witnessed us make our own attempt at that.
And fuck it up fairly royally.
Yes, but it shows me two things. First of all, that you are willing to at least attempt bold and ballsy plans. And second of all, it gives me a very, very powerful hook over all of you. We wouldn't want the truth getting out there now, would we?
Or we could do to you what you did to Dagar, and then we just make a run for it.
Well, you could certainly try. But, well, all it would take is for me to take a couple of paces back faster than you can reach me, which I can assure you I'm very good at doing, and yell bloody murder. And, well, I know where is the body. I'm sure that there are plenty of witnesses in that bank who would like to testify for a right bit of persuasion. I think it's in our best interest that we work together on this one, don't you?
You have an interesting way of making friends.
I don't need friends, I need accomplices.
So, what exactly is your plan to get past the massive magic password gate?
Well, I had a plan, but that plan died with Dagar over there, so we're going to have to put our heads together and think of something new. But anyway, this probably isn't the place to do this. We're going to need somewhere discreet. But I can think of a few places, a few safe houses of mine that might serve just that purpose. If you're interested, of course.
Wasn't aware we had a choice.
That's the spirit. So with not a word more, Malagash turns and makes his way back up the kind of little side street and out into the open. Doesn't even look to see if you're following him.
Yep, let's follow.
Yeah,
I kind of want to see where this goes, if nothing else.
I kind of want to get back in that bank and open up the vault.
And
Maybe with
without
the
this guy, I don't
magic.
think that's going to happen.
We've now got a fool guy as well, if worse comes to worse.
Mm.
Yeah. You know,
Let's be realistic. He's probably going to betray us eventually, regardless of how well this goes.
you know, based on how we're already going, we're kind of criminals anyway. What's robbing a bank? You know, it's just par for the course, I'd say. And plus, yeah, like we said, we can always get rid of the guy. Schwan gets another meal.
3 murders in 3 days. What could go wrong?
Third time
Well,
lucky.
we didn't murder the second guy, but yeah, okay, yeah.
Teamwork makes the dream work.
You just loosened the lid and you finished it off.
Okay, so you exit the alley yourselves and spot Malagash kind of weaving through the crowd, about 20 meters ahead of you. So, doing your best to keep pace, he leads you on a bit of a roundabout route, but more towards like a residential area of the city. Nothing too upmarket, but nothing run down either. A fairly, average house. Something that, you would expect maybe the, the middle class to be able to afford to rent one of these, perhaps. But he unlocks the door and ushers you in. And you can see that this place is clearly a safe house. There's a lot here that suggests that it has been, either rented or bought for the sole purpose of planning and presumably later executing whatever heist he was going to arrange. So, chief amongst those features, you can see like a large map pinned to the wall, which I will bring you all over to.
Ooh.
Heist music. I like it.
In fact, that's quite high, isn't it? Let me turn it down. Yes, so he brings you into this room, and you can see that he's clearly been planning this for a little while. You can see scribbled notes attached to various bits of paper and like pinned to a kind of a large drawing board. It appears to be things like guards, schedules, rotas, that kind of thing. Lots of the little details. Obviously, he's wearing his clerk's uniform for now, but you can see that he has a couple of other uniforms on a series of racks, one of which appears to be a guard's uniform, complete with the actual armour in question. It seems he's quite serious about this.
It would seem so.
Right, anyway.
You're dressed as a clerk. Are you currently employed by them?
Oh. First him and now you. Party of geniuses you lot, aren't you? Yes, I am employed by them, and I have been for a couple of months now. So I've got a pretty good working knowledge of most of this bank. But there are a couple of places that they don't even let me. So, a couple of options here. There are a series of lockboxes. Now these are lesser scores. They're, the kind of thing that might have property deeds, perhaps, or maybe, a couple of stacks of coins in them each. There's quite a few of them, and they're less secure than the main vault itself. He kind of brings your attention to the map. Now they're located just a little way off the main room. It's guarded most of the day. There are a couple of windows, however, where we may have 10-15 minutes to slip inside, but it's a risk. As for the vault itself, well, I've already told you a lot about the locking system, and it's not going to be easy. I'll give it to you frankly. The gargoyles you've seen there, it's more of a identification and verification system. It's not strictly necessary to have the password for it. It just, that will verify you are who you say you are. That's the point where the manager will get the key. So in theory, we can bypass them. But that would mean we're going to need to be alone in the corridor for a fair amount of time. And that might not be easy. And we'd need the key. And that really isn't going to be easy.
Well, I did snag the Dagger's keys. Will these come in handy?
As you pull out the keys, he takes them from you and has a look. Oh yeah, that'll definitely help. Looks like what have we got here? So these are for the grills, and then looks like the manager's office there, and the senior leadership team's office as well. Well, yeah, that might make things a bit easier. Won't get us into the vault though. Now,
so just run us through what some of the rest of this looks like. Like, how many members of staff are we talking about in these areas?
So there are 4 clerks who are working at any given time. You'll then have 8 guards scattered throughout the building. I do have schedules, and they tend to stick to the same routines when it comes to their patrols, so it's quite a well-designed system. There's not much opportunity, but there are little breaks here and there, perhaps 5 minutes at a time, that we can exploit. Maybe a bit more if we can make some distractions. As for that, well, no, there used to be a manager, but I think that role's going to be vacant for at least a day or two. But I'm sure the head office will send somebody over, though. And then you have a couple of support staff working in the back. There's a records keeper. There's a janitor, but he doesn't really do much. He's a lazy bastard. But he shouldn't be a problem. Keeps to himself mostly. Find him in a break room most of the day.
He might be busy fixing a toilet.
Yeah, but it won't take him a full day, even for his rate of work. But other than that, the security systems tend to be more arcane in their nature. Sure, well, you've seen the gargoyles up front. I'd avoid causing a ruckus in front of them if I were you.
What do they do exactly?
Have you ever seen what happens when a deer gets hit by a stagecoach?
Oh.
Yeah, they're going to do that to your face.
Oh.
So the ones at the front door are the same as the ones at the vault, I guess?
They are, yes. So just bear that one in mind. If the alarm does get triggered, they are going to be on you very quickly. And it will be you, because I will be running.
And how exactly would the alarm be triggered?
There are a couple of panic buttons underneath the clerk's workspace, a few more dotted around the bank. I can mark those for you. is going to do that right now, actually, because I've remembered I have drawing tools.
I wish we had drawing tools sometimes.
So. A series of green dots to denote where the panic buttons are. He points them out on the map. Any one of those happens, a number of things will immediately occur. Number one, those gargoyles are going to get very active, and they are going to be hell to deal with if we're caught somewhere we shouldn't be. Number two, all the guards are going to immediately rush to anywhere that there are valuables stored, so either the lockbox room or the vault. Likewise, should they find us there, we're going to have some very awkward questions to have to answer. And second of all, it sends an automated distress call to the local law enforcement. And the commander gets paid quite handsomely under the table to make sure that he prioritises this building should anything go wrong. I imagine it'll be quite a quick response time, so we do not want any of these buttons being pressed.
Gotcha.
What about this room marked portal room?
Right,
What
well,
happened
that's what it says on the tin, really. There's a portal in there, can lead to any of the other portals that it's connected to on the network. Now, I've managed to piece together that at the end of the day, the key to the vault lock is taken to one of the other branches at random and stored there. Just, it's a security thing where whilst the bank is closed, it means that the key to the vault is stored off-site.
So,
which means we either need to get the key ahead of time and then do the heist at night, or we need to do it during the day while the key's in the building somewhere.
but to get the key, we'd have to break into another bank to steal the key for this vault.
If we were to do it at night, yeah. As I say, they're quite paranoid. Likewise, if we find a key in here overnight, there's a very good chance it unlocks one of the other regional banks' vaults, but there's no way of telling which one is which. Only the senior leadership team know that.
So, where is the key stored during the day? Sorry.
You think they'd tell me?
Okay. So one of the senior leadership would know, I guess.
Wherever it is, there's a very good chance that there's going to be some sort of protection on that, be it safe or arcane in nature. I don't know. I've not got that far.
Are you sure that these blueprints are accurate?
He shrugs. They're the best I could get. And trust me, I paid a good amount of gold to grease a few palms down at the planning office.
Well, now that the manager's dead, might it be assumed that one of the other senior leadership will cover his office? They still need a manager after all, I suppose. In which case,
yeah, I'm sure they'll send somebody eventually. Might be a day or two.
So if we can get into the manager's office, there'll be a member of the senior leadership in there. We could interrogate them to find out where the key is.
He shrugs. You could. It would be a bit risky, perhaps. You'd only have to dart for that button.
And all the windows are iron barred, of course.
They are, but if we decide might be something we want to do, there are solutions to those bars.
Well, from my own perspective, I'll look at Erlang. A rat could fit between those bars.
Or even something smaller.
All we'd have to do is cut a hole through the glass, I guess. The windows and doors aren't magically alarmed somehow, are they?
No, there's no alarm on the windows.
If we were to do it across 2 days, something small, say a rat, could sneak in and trigger a panic button. We have an outfit of a guard, and all of the guards will rush to valuable places. If someone is disguised as a guard and they rush to the vault, someone has to open the vault. So they'll be able to see where the manager gets the key from. And then the next day, we know where the key is.
He nods at that. That's a good idea, yeah. Only problem is, of course, that would mean at least one of us and two of us having to be there when those damn gargoyles could come alive. I don't know what exactly would trigger them to attack, but if it was to come to light that one of us were an imposter, then I don't think that would end very well for them.
Yeah, there's possibly too much of a chance that all the guards might get questioned afterwards to find out why the alarm was set off, and then we could be rumbled. What would the clerks do in the case of an alarm?
Well, the standard policy is for us to immediately lock our own office doors and make sure that the coins and any ingots that we've got in the immediate handling rooms are secure. In any case, it would probably shut us out of the picture for at least 5 minutes.
Well, let's say you happen to be using the restroom at the time that the alarm was sounded. Would you be able to peek out into the corridor to see where the man with the key comes from, maybe?
I suppose it's not impossible.
Or maybe
Might be a bit convenient if they do start asking questions.
What do we know about the senior leadership? Could we get to them outside the bank? In the city somewhere?
Well, I mean, rich and powerful men, which I assume means that they're almost certainly crooked one way or another. I haven't really had the time or the manpower to check their after-work activities in too much detail. I'm sure a couple of them have families. That might be an angle. Then again, they're rich enough they can afford quite a lot of security, I'd imagine. Might have to be a bit more subtle.
Maybe.
Subtlety isn't necessarily our strong suit.
So anyway, assuming everything goes perfectly, we get the key without anyone realizing, we just stick it in the vault door, unlock it, and that's it. We're good to go.
Well, yeah, we'd certainly have the access to the vault. Obviously, it's only one way in and one way out of that, so it would be better to do that quietly.
No other traps or security measures inside the vault?
I've not got that far. For all I know, I could be, but given the amount of effort it would take to get in, would seem like a bit of overkill to me. But I wouldn't put it past them. You've seen what we've done with the actual setup itself. We should be prepared for anything, really.
One other thing, I suppose, is that the vault door is very magical. I could tell that much when I was in there. So the key would also be magical. I wonder if we could detect key using a bit of magic. Anyone who might be able to detect.
Honestly, do you think I haven't tried that?
Also, I would have needed to see the exact key, otherwise it will just point to the nearest one, which is
I was just
one
thinking
in
of
your
detect
possession.
magic. I was just thinking of pure detect magic, just to see.
So, as an out of character aside, magic is common enough for, like basic
yeah,
spells like that. They would obviously be very aware of it, and so wherever this key is, it is clearly lead lined for just that reason.
Yeah. Well, little own anti-magic field or something. Okay. I mean, it's got it.
Well, it can't be in an anti-magic field because it's the magical key.
Oh, yeah, true. Well, okay, so it stands to reason the two most obvious places to store such a key would be either the leadership office or the manager's office. I would assume the manager's office, because in the event that I had passed the identification scan yesterday, the manager himself would have ran off to fetch the key. Right?
Yeah, that's how it goes.
So, his office? I mean, we can always, like we said, we can still do it over the course of 2 days. We could have a little break into the manager's office overnight and scope it out, see if we can find where the key is kept.
The key is not on site overnight, unfortunately.
No, but if we could find out where they keep it during the day.
I.e., like finding one of their other keys, logic stands that they keep all of the keys in the same place.
Maybe, possibly. Or if we find a big-ass fucking safe that's covered in magical locks, then we can probably guess that it might be where they keep the key. Might be worth a go. Do they have a patrol that goes around the outside of the bank, I assume, as well?
It's it's the town guard that do the outside. They're not employees of the bank, but it is watched.
Okay.
Did you say that the portal room was used for when they're sort of closing up, locking up at the end of the day? The keys are all sent through the portal as part of the procedure. What happens if someone were to make their way into the portal room unannounced, unseen, and then subdued the person going into the portal room to drop the keys off? So that would be end of the day, so there wouldn't be customers around. I assume there'd be fewer staff around, and would then give us freedom to heist under the cover of night.
Well, it wouldn't be easy. You'd probably need more than one person. From what I've seen, whenever that key is actually on site, whoever's carrying it, they always have at least one guard with them. It's not impossible. Get one particularly mean person in there, and you might be able to do it. There's no panic button in the portal room itself.
Maybe there's a way that we could make sure the guard who's escorting them is one of us.
Oh, that could work.
As long as
I
we
like
just
that
have to
idea.
be in the right place at the right time. What
Might be able to.
are the clerks still on shift at the time when the keys get portaled away?
Well, yeah, we're on shift, but it's very much a, kind of a lock up and make sure everything is secure and in place. They're going to be busy. But then, if they do detect something, each one of those clerks' office has a panic button. And they're all separate from each other, so we would need to make sure they're secure. That'd take a few bodies.
But the clerks can't see into the portal room from where they are.
No, there's no windows there.
So all I meant was, if the clerks can get eyes on who is responsible for taking the key into the portal room every night, then we just make sure we station a guard near that person at that time, and then they'll just turn to one of us and say, "Hey, you, escort me." And then, well, even better, we can hit them before they even get to the portal room. If the guard goes with them to where the key is being held, we just knock them out there and then. Or subdue them. And hey ho, we've got the key. Doesn't even have to happen in the portal room. Thoughts?
Yeah. Malagash is kind of thinking this through in his head, doing some mental calculations. So, gives you guys a bit of time to maybe interject.
Yeah, I'm not fussy about where it happens, but both Elias and I have a fair amount of control magics at our disposal.
Yeah, it didn't go so well on the manager, but it might work on others.
True. And Juan and I are able to sneak into areas in a less noticed manner.
So here's what I've got then. As part of the heist prep, if we can get Erlang to sneak in as a rat, perhaps, into the manager's office at night. Scope the place out, see if you can find maybe whereabouts it is they're keeping the key. Obviously, we can still keep it in mind that we could, grab the key while it's in transit to the portal room, but it would help if we actually knew where it was being held first. Yeah?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
How many uniforms do we have again?
So you've got a clerk's uniform and a guard's uniform ready to go right now.
Is that an extra clerk's uniform or just the one that Malagash has got?
He's got an extra one.
So we could have two clerks, but that would look suspicious because if there was an extra clerk hanging around, maybe.
Unless we get rid of another clerk.
Let's do 2 favours.
Erlang breaks in, find out where the key is kept. Once we know where it is, we go in the next day in disguises. Maybe the person disguised as the guard sort of makes his way into the senior leadership office. Just, make it look like you're guarding that area. And then at the end of the day, when it's time to portal the key away, you make sure that you're the one who escorts to the portal room. Then either we grab the key as it's being taken out from the vault, or from its safe, or wherever it's being kept. For all we know, it might just be in somebody's bloody drawer. And then
I can't
we
lie,
hide.
my brain cells are not following with the plan here. I think I have a vague idea what's going on, but it is kind of fitting that also Yinfu is clueless, so we'll do with that what we need to.
So undercover guard goes into the SLS office, or just hangs around that area. I guess we can have someone dressed up as a clerk that just, I don't know, hides in the maintenance closet until the place closes for the night. And then we've got someone on the inside. Does that sound like a good idea?
Yes?
Yeah.
Yes. Absolutely.
Oh, right. That's sounds like it might be a workable plan.
But that still only leaves 4 people inside the bank in order to carry out the heist. There would be Malagash, disguised as a clerk. Erlang, who can disguise himself as pretty much anything and hide anywhere.
Yep.
The person disguised as the guard, and then the person disguised as the extra clerk. So how would the rest of us assist, or how do we determine who is going to be disguised, etc.?
And remember, if we are going to do this at night, those doors, they're going to be closed and guarded.
So no one else is getting in unless it's through a window, in which case patrols around the outside might spot something.
Well, and those bars are going to stop anybody of our size getting in.
Yeah.
We need to do something about that.
What about skylights? Are there any skylights?
None, so to speak.
Probably if we get the keys, we can just let people in through a door.
There's only the front door, though.
And that's being watched, isn't it?
There will be the night watchman as well, but it should just be one of him.
Does he just wander around patrolling at the inside?
For the most part, occasionally he does a sweep and then goes back to the break room.
Okay. We should be able to take one guard without him setting off any alarms.
Famous last words.
Okay, so who's going in disguised as the clerk? I would probably suggest Schwan,
Yes, makes sense.
because you can hide away until it's dark and then sneak your way out. Erlang can get in through a window. Can anyone else sneak in through iron bars? I don't think so.
Probably not.
And then someone disguised as the guard. I would say either myself or Wide-Eye. Wide-Eye would look more.
I think they
more
would know
befitting.
that Wide-Eye isn't a usual guard, though. He stands out
Yeah.
too much.
Would he even fit into the uniform? Okay, so maybe me as the guard?
Mm-hmm.
Minus the pale elf disguise, no one should recognize me.
Meta talk a little bit here, but assuming we've got Zara next week,
Oh, yeah.
Lee May could be the guard.
She would be a really good option for a guard.
Yeah, she would be actually.
Like
And then-
fighting things.
Let's see. Do I have anything that could sneak me in? Not really.
We'll walk through the front door. If a guard tries to stop you, you can use your wiles.
I mean, if we do knock out the night watchman and get the keys, that should get the rest of us through the front door, right? There's no one else watching the front door, was there?
Well, you've got the 2 gargoyles, and there are a couple of guards posted even at night out there.
Oh, right, they are posted there. They're not just on patrol or anything. Okay.
No, well,
Fine.
not at night time. In the daytime, of course, there are guards in the main rooms. That's not really required, but at night there are a couple out there. Because gargoyles won't react immediately; they need to be triggered.
Sure.
So they need a couple of eyes on the ground.
Okay, so we can't, even if we do take out the night watchman, that doesn't mean that we can get everyone else inside. The only way to do that would be to remove the bars from a window, and then one of the outside patrols would spot that, so that wouldn't really work. So yeah, we pretty much are limited then to just the 4 people being on the inside, and then other people on the outside can cause distractions, maybe, possibly.
Because we're planning on doing this outside of opening hours, aren't we? So
I
it's
think
not like
so.
we could just pose as, like...
I mean, we haven't totally eliminated the possibility of doing it during the day. I mean, because like I said, if Erlang sneaks in and finds out where the key is being kept, then we could take it during the day.
Mm.
Doing it in the day would have the benefit that the main doors would be open.
Yeah, that's it. So the
Yeah.
entire rest of the party could get in.
Would have the drawback, obviously, that then there is, kind of daily business going on within the bank.
Yeah.
So you'd obviously need to blend in and probably not be quite as overt.
I could pose as just a regular bank customer. Maybe I want to open up a high value account and I can get a meeting in the manager's office or some such. Maybe.
Yeah, if you can convince him you're from someone or some organisation that's powerful enough that doesn't already have an account. But, flash a big enough bag of cash in front of her eyes or the promise of one, and that opens a few doors.
Yes. Okay, I think we could manage that. Maybe I want to inquire about storing something in the vault, and so that would require a private meeting at least. That could get me into the manager's office with whoever's filling in for the manager, maybe a guard. Okay, yeah. That's one more of us on the inside. That's all I'm thinking.
If that's what your plan is, I could pose as your partner or something.
That could work. Erlang can be inside the manager's office waiting for us, and then he can spring up to help us if we need to subdue anyone.
Yeah, just
Oh, how long actually does the
wild
polymorph
shape
last?
last. Yeah, that's what I was just checking.
Quite a while, I think.
Half my druid level or until I use it again. So at this point,
In terms of minutes or hours?
Hours.
Okay.
The number of hours equal to half my druid level, so 2.5 hours.
So round that up to 3.
So, yeah, so if you broke in at night to try and find out where the key is, you'd have to get out again as well. And then we'd have to go in again the next day. I mean, you could be hidden in, you could be hidden in Yinfu's purse or something, maybe.
Yeah, I do have 2 uses, up to 3 uses if I burn a spell slot for another one.
So if we do the first...
Oh, no, sorry,
break-in-
I was incorrect with that. I can burn a spell slot to give myself another use of Wild Shape. As many spell slots as I have, I can burn a Wild Shape to gain a level 1 spell slot once per long rest. So, if I need to stay in animal form for a long time,
Right.
if people don't need me casting spells, that's viable.
I think you being able to cast spells is probably what might save us, though.
Yeah.
So I think that first plan of you breaking in on night 1, trying to find where the key is, and then getting out again, and then night 2 is when we do day 2 is when we do the actual heisting.
My only concern is the longer we leave this, the more, especially with clerks dying, etc., managers dying, the more likelihood there is for something to go wrong and for them try and put the security.
Well, I did make it look like he just whacked his head on the sink, so I don't think there should be too much backlash from that. At least I hope not.
There was a broken pipe, he slipped on the water,
Yeah.
he broke his neck. Yeah.
But if something goes wrong on this first night, then that's when they could increase security in time for the second night.
Yeah. So we just try and do everything in one visit then.
Potentially, yeah. If we're able to get the keys before they're portaled away, that should then give us the freedom to go in and out of the vault.
So we need to get in, find where the keys are, find where the key is, get hold of the key, get into the corridor, into the vault, grab as much as we can carry, and then
We
get
also
out again.
don't have a way of communicating with each other while this is going on, which may be problematic.
Well, we can try and stick to at least a rough time frame then if people are expecting certain things to have happened, because we know obviously when the bank closes, so that's going to give us a pretty solid window of when the key's going to get to the portal room.
What time is that, like 4 p.m?
Well, we got to kick the customers out 4:30. Everything's ready and kind of locked up by about 5.
And then the key will get portaled sometime around then.
Sometime after that, usually between 5 and 15:15.
Also, one thing to consider is that if the key doesn't get portaled, could they raise an alarm from one of the other bank locations to say, hey, the key didn't come through when it was meant to? These portals, is it only the key that can pass through, or can a person pass through?
No, usually the manager passes through.
Oh, so we would have a manager from another bank coming through to us.
Yeah, quite possibly. Shit, I hadn't thought of that. He drums his fingers on the table. If he's not expecting anything, then again, there's no panic button in that room. We have to have people waiting for him, though.
Yeah. Well, at that point, suppose whoever was disguised as the guard would just have to make sure that they're in the portal room, ready to deal with them. We could just try and persuade them that...
Do we follow the proceedings as if everything is normal?
Well, no, because the manager who's passing over the key should be in that room at that time, ready to... ready to accept the other bank's key, I guess. And then to go through himself into one of the other banks and do the same thing, vice versa. So someone will need to be in that portal room ready to intercept the manager coming from the other bank.
We're going to need
Yeah.
something to keep a number of people subdued then. Because we won't be able to sit and watch them all. There'll be too many, potentially.
Well, we have a
So
little
we just
bit
want
of...
to slit some throats.
Let's not do that. Do you know anyone who deals in substances that might put someone to sleep?
Me?
You can... I mean, I was referring to more like something that you could douse a rag with that, if people who don't have access to magic might need to.
Erlang just raises his hand like...
Oh, you can actually make
Me?
up black substance.
I'm a herbalist, remember?
Oh, shit, of course you are. Okay, so so we'd need to get hold of the herbs for you to be able to do that, at least, I guess. Well, that's something that we can sort out.
Yeah.
Do a bit of shopping.
I think doing this all in one day I think it's unrealistic. I think we need more of an idea about what's going to happen. We've got too many things outside of
Okay.
our control here that could go wrong.
And
There's a
with,
few things that we just haven't thought about.
and with
Right.
Dagar dead, there's a good chance that everyone's regular routine's going to be a bit messed up for a day or two while we get a new manager. Might be worth letting it die down a tad. Get a
Good
sense of
point.
normality back.
Also, everyone's going to be on high alert right now. Leaving it an extra day or two might
Well, they
play in
won't
our
be on
favour.
high alert because the manager's death was an accident. So,
So we're safe that way.
or it was made to look like an accident anyway.
Hmm.
Okay, you won me over. I think doing it over a few days or a couple of days it has fewer risks.
Oh yeah.
So, right now we've got... So, step one was Erlang breaking in one night to try and find out where stuff is, but we're going to scratch that. So, the other part is Lee May going in as the undercover guard.
Yep.
Into and around the senior leadership office to try and find out who's going to be responsible for handing over the key, or just to have a look in that area, see if she can see where the key, if there's a mini safe somewhere where the key might be being held, if it's not in the manager's office. At the same time, Juan's going to go in disguised as a clerk, I guess, because he doesn't need to hide overnight anymore. He can kind of just linger around the break room and just make himself look busy. Then myself and Yinfu will go in looking like we're trying to open up a new account, see if we can get a meeting with the manager so we can get into the manager's office.
In whatever scheme or subterfuge is now at play, Yinfu's default role has just, now been Arm Gandhi.
Yeah.
Don't do the same as last time, though, please.
No, don't go flashing anyone,
No,
please.
thanks.
If I have to, I will.
That's what we're afraid of.
I'll do it. I'm crazy.
You can't stop me.
So yeah, Elias goes in with the info, see if he can get into the manager's office. Erlang be disguised, say, in Yinfu's purse, maybe as a rat or something like that, so we
Yeah.
can smuggle him in. And then while we're in the manager's office, that's when we try and subdue the manager again. At this point, well, I guess we haven't really said what Malagash is going to be doing at this point. I guess he could be coming out of his teller office to try and help in some way. So, and well, we can't really be doing this at the end of the day because too many of us will be inside the bank at this point. So the whole idea of trying to grab the key while it's in transit to the portal room, that might not even work anyway. Because if it's at the point where the bank's being shut, the guards are going to be wandering around making sure everyone's out.
Unless
So
we
we
can
have to
find
do it.
somewhere where the two of us can hide.
Yeah, but it might be
It's not
asking a bit
ideal.
much.
But it might be an option.
The record room? What's in the record room?
Records.
Other than records.
He shrugs at you a little bit. Just shelves, all sorts of documents, really. I haven't really rooted around too much in there. I've seen that there's nothing really valuable as such, so.
Is there space enough in there that some people could hide?
You'd have to get creative, but possibly.
Are
Maybe
there-
Is it the kind of place that's used during close down?
No, it's not used that much, really, even in the day.
Okay, so one of us could possibly slip out of the manager's office, sneak our way in there and hide. But like I said, if we go into that manager's office and at that point we find out where the key is, are we prepared to pull the trigger on the plan, knock out the manager, grab the key, and make a move at that point?
I think it'd be wise too.
Yeah.
Yeah. So if
If an opportunity presents itself, we'd be foolish to not take
But
it.
then when something like that happens, we need a way to be able to communicate to the rest of the guys that the heist is on and we're moving.
Is anyone? in
It's no
possession
good
of
if Lee
any-
May is still hanging around in the senior leadership office at that point, because she'll have no idea that we're doing that. Schwan might be sat in the break room. He won't know what's going on. Wide Eye, I guess, will station him in the bathroom, maybe. Sorry, Wide Eye, but you do kind of stand out a little bit.
What was your question, Chris? Or Erlang, I suppose, in this instance?
I've forgotten it, so it can't have been important.
So yeah, at the point when we're in the manager's office, I mean, well, this is, I guess, Erlang and Elias can both hit the manager with a sleep spell just to make sure he definitely goes down. Plus, that's not to say the manager might drag a guard in there with him while we're in a meeting, if we can even get in there in the first place. So a manager plus a guard maybe might be in there. We'd have to knock them out, keep them subdued. Then get out of the manager's office, through the corridor, up through the security gate, into the vault corridor, and then into the vault. Actually, maybe Schwan hangs around the record room, and then that way he'll see us coming out into the corridor and can pop out and help if he needs to.
Oh, I remember what I was going to say. Regarding the what happens if shit hits the fan? We need to change the plan. Is anyone in possession of mental communication magics?
No.
No.
Ah, good, because neither am I.
Oh boy.
One thing I can do really is manipulate people. That's kind of my thing.
And fireball.
And the
Well, yes.
Another thing to keep in mind is if that panic button does get pressed, we're not going to be able to rely on stealth anymore. From what I've heard, those gargoyles have true sight.
Okay. Well, yeah. If we have to fight them, that would be not ideal. Not to mention all the guards that would come streaming in from every direction. I think we have to agree. If the panic button gets pressed at any point, we get out. We don't stand and fight.
Yeah.
Unless we're already in the vault and on our way out, in which case, yeah.
Is there an audible alarm with the panic button, or is it silent?
I don't know. It's not something I've ever actually heard used for real. I mean, it should be pretty obvious when those great hulking beasts start marching around.
True.
Yeah,
What worries
I
me?
imagine it's not going to stay quiet.
Wide Eye has a
Actually-
name, thank you.
I got it, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay. Lee goes undercover, hangs around the senior leadership office, listens into conversations, has a sly look around, see if she can see where a key might be being kept. Schwan goes in, hides around the record room, sort of lingering around, waiting to jump out and head into the vault with us when he's needed. Elias and Yinfu go in with Erlang hidden away, try and get into the manager's office. And that's about what we've got.
This is why you're the smart one.
Yep.
And then Wide Eye just get ready to kick the door open and hold it open for us long enough to get out if needed. Be a distraction if necessary.
Bring the box.
Sorry, I wasn't picturing now is like Wide Eye going in trying to get a loan to start a new business based on cats in boxes.
I've got this idea on finances. It's based on theoretical profit.
See, you're either rich or desolate at the same time.
Makes perfect sense. Have a look at this cat, it'll tell you everything you need to know.
I think your window for action might be quite slim if you go in with that sales pitch.
So anyway, I'm looking for 5 million investment for 5% of the business.
Dungeons and Dragons, Dan.
Hey.
Yeah, okay. I think that's the most we can come up with right now.
Yeah. Inevitably, things will go to shit and we'll have to...
Of course, the other thing,
evaluate.
that's it actually. Escape plan is... I mean, we all just have to get through that front door. Like,
Yeah.
that front door is a bit of a bottleneck, so that's why we probably need Wide Eye there to keep an exit open for us.
Hold the
There
door.
does look like there's exits out of the SLS office and the manager's office. Oh no, they're
they're
windows.
windows,
Yeah, there was the
That
window
bars,
with iron
yeah.
bars. So,
Okay.
I mean, a fireball might get that open in an emergency, but you can't really rely on it necessarily.
Yeah.
And it's going to cause a very Well, it's going to
large
attract attention.
disturbance. Yeah.
Yeah. Other than that, I've no way of opening up bars non-destructively.
I suppose if shit really does go down, then those of us that are in disguises, as long as we're not the ones in the immediate suspicion, we could probably just act the part. Maybe
True.
try and get away in the chaos.
Yeah.
Lee May could just grab hold of a couple of people and say, right, I'm escorting you out, or something, you know.
Mm.
I mean, and I suppose there's the other side of it, that if we do actually make it all the way through this and get into the vault, we're just filling up on as much expensive shit as we possibly can. I mean, Malagash, are you expecting to find anything particular in there, or just filling your pockets?
I've got an item in mind, but don't worry about that. It should be easy to transport.
Okay. Did you say that you work for someone, or are you a lone guy?
Yeah, I've got a patron for this job. It's a commission piece, hence the very specific item in question.
I see. I suppose that person also pays for anonymity.
And they do it quite well, yes. I'm not against, of course, lining any pockets I might have on me at the time with targets of opportunity once I'm inside, but that will be my major focus.
Fair enough. I mean, to be honest, we were just going in to get our own... Well, it's not our own, but whatever was owed on the note, but we could end up leaving with considerably more than we actually expected to get out. I mean, do you know from hearsay or anything the kind of things that are kept in the vault?
Well, you've got a mixture. You've got the high value property of the rich and the powerful, things that, you know, are significant enough that they can't be left unattended. I mean, that can vary all the way from, you know, kind of property rights on hereditary homes all the way up to, you know, just chests upon chests of platinum bars. It's, you know, anything that they might want kept away from sticky fingers. So, could find anything in there. Quite a big service that the bank offers. As you're aware, it's a big organisation. We've got a lot of majors on hand. They'll shrink down whatever you want storing into a handy little chest. Means that you can store quite a lot more in a little space. And of course, when you want it again, they'll reverse the process for you. So we might find some very surprising items in there, just in miniature.
True. I wonder how much £500 of platinum would be worth.
I don't think you'd be working for much longer in your life. So, it sounds like we have a semblance of a plan together.
Something resembling one.
I'm going to then call that the end of a session because we are obviously not going to have time to execute this tonight, but we'll pick up at the start of next session just in case, you know, you've had any brainwaves in the week between now and then.